Let me tell you the story about how I explored unknown lands, fought terrifying creatures, and ultimately took to the skies. It all started off with me waking up on an island. You see, the good people over at Soulmask were soon about to release the Shifting Sands DLC, which was highly inspired by ancient Egypt. With something like that being right up my alley, they had decided to sponsor this video. And so, joined by my buddy Donkey, we got started. With a new map just as big as the base game and over 500 hours of content, there was plenty for us to discover. But for now, me and Donkey needed to focus on simply getting off this island. Just a short distance away, we spotted two brigands sitting around a fire. They hadn't yet spotted us, so we still stood a chance against them. We backed off a short distance, gathered a few supplies, and crafted ourselves some basic spears. We crept up just within range of them and used the special attack on the spear to get the drop on them.
2, 1, go!
Alright, well you could have tried hitting yours at least. Oh, he's up close, get him while he's up close!
Despite Donkey's disappointing spear throw, we had prevailed. After grabbing a few supplies off their bodies, we also found some nearby coconut crabs to kill for meat. Having exhausted this small island of all the supplies it had, we crafted a simple thatch raft and set sail to the north. See, we had heard as part of the many things added to Soulmask and the Shifting Sands DLC, there is now a way to take to the sky itself with an airship, and we were very, very interested in doing so. But for now, we were still a ways off. We made landfall on another island. Here we came across some hogs who never stood a chance against our spear tech.
Be hunting these hogs.
A bit further, we came across our first barbarian camp, an old set of ruins inhabited by a countless number of outcasts. We started working our way through it.
I'm bringing that bitch in. Oh shit. I parried him! I just did some Dark Souls shit to him, what? The other one's right, don't let the other one get away! Ah! We actually gotta take him out, yeah. Oh, you're fucked. Get fucked.
Along the way, we found a couple of their chests. Inside, among other things, we found green crystals and sunstone, two very important resources. And so we kept working our way through this barbarian camp. Towards the end of the camp, we found a mysterious stone tablet. Repairing this with some of the resources we had acquired, we were able to upgrade our mask. Our mask could now deter other people, which recruits them into our tribe. And so at the camp, finding a couple people worth recruiting, we did just that.
Parry.
The good.
As for those not worth recruiting, they got a very different treatment. With our new tribe members in tow, we continued our journey north. We were making good progress. Along the way, I got frame mogged by one of our new tribe mates, and a little bit after that, we came across some donkeys.
Don't kill it! Don't kill it! No!
That was effing awesome. We need to do that more.
That was not awesome.
After upsetting Donkey, we continued on, and outside of the time where I got torn to shreds by a whole bunch of piranhas,
Donkey, help me! Donkey, help me!
it was all smooth sailing. As we were crossing a river, high overhead, we saw a flotilla of airships. Those bastards up there turning their noses up at us. They think they're so much better than us half-naked guys swimming through a river. But mark my words, that'll be us up there. Just you wait. But literally taking my head out of the sky, I focused on simply continuing north. On the northern end of a peninsula, we came across a small village of aggressive outcasts. So we took care of them.
Oh shit! Get this fucking javelin thrower down, bro. Get the fuck down here.
Recruiting a few of them, our tribe now stood at around 7 members. Looking around at this camp, we kind of realized that being a homeless wanderer isn't nearly as nice as having somewhere to call home. And since our goal is to have a flying airship, it's probably a good idea to even have a ship in the first place. Now, making such a raft was definitely going to be more complicated than the spears and bows we've been making so far. In fact, we needed to make multiple crafting stations like a tannery and a carpenter's bench. From here, I assigned my specific tribe members to man these stations and craft certain recipes, while Donkey sent his tribe members members to automatically harvest wood nearby and then bring it back to the stations, where my guys manning the station would then refine said materials. And it was exactly at this point that me and Donkey realized that being the manager is way better than being the worker. I mean, we pitched in a little bit, you know, get a tree here, make a couple planks there, but for the most part, we'd let our tribe do the heavy lifting. And with their blood, sweat, and tears, we finally had all the resources required for a raft. By now, we traveled a far distance and gathered a decent amount of resources. And now with the raft, we finally had some place to call home. I mean, it can't fly, at least not yet, but it'll do. Soon after finishing our raft, we came across some guys on a boat that was infinitely less cool than ours. Having asserted our aquatic dominance, we decided it was time to boss up the raft. Inspired by the designs of ancient triremes, I tried to put together something similar, and yeah, it's safe to say that I'm not exactly much of a builder, but hey, you know what? It's not another 2x1, so I'm evolving a little bit. With that done, we continued sailing along the waterway. Not far away, we found a tin mine, which after clearing out, we were able to get a decent stockpile of tin. It wasn't particularly useful by itself, but if we got our hands on some copper, we'd be able to make bronze. We continued east from the tin mine and eventually came across a giant barbarian camp. This tribe was far more advanced than the ones we had fought in the ruins. They put up a much stronger fight.
They're fucking everywhere, yo.
However, we were able to push forward through their camp. Along the way, there were multiple chests to loot with a variety of resources we needed.
Thick hide, more copper. Dude, we might be able to make bronze, like.
Towards the end of the camp, we found the boss of this whole operation. Standing at about 10 feet tall, the fight against him wasn't easy.
Oh my god. Bro, the tribe leader just downed all our guys. Oh, he's coming back to you, Donkey. He's coming back to you. Oh, I got him. Let's fucking go.
But eventually, we took him down, looting him and anything else we could find at the camp. By the time we had left, we had far better weapons and armor than before. We were starting to feel pretty good about ourselves. And so, heading a little bit west, we found an ancient pyramid, and in front of it, an altar, on which we could make a sacrifice to summon the Soulmask crocodile. Feeling pretty good about ourselves, that's exactly what we did.
Whoa.
He's just eating someone. Oh, dude, he just hit me for 500 HP, Donkey.
So figure out his balance and we can beat him.
One of our team is down.
He's coming to you.
Okay, hold on.
I'm dead.
I'm down. Fuck, bro.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I got fucked.
The fight had went horribly for us. It hadn't even been close. Falling back on our ship, we were at our lowest point. Our whole tribe had been slaughtered in that fight, and our gear had proved completely hopeless against the crocodile. The deck of our ship had once teamed with activity, but now it was just me and Donkey. But we weren't just gonna give up like that. We knew the Soulmask crocodile had to fall if we were gonna have an airship, and so it was time to boss up some more. We sailed north. We found another tin mine by the river. However, this one was protected by a much more advanced tribe. They had bronze weaponry. So here we were able to upgrade our gear and refill the ranks of our tribe. However, the guys we recruited here weren't going to be strong enough. These were only a bit more advanced than the ones we'd had before, and those had been massacred. We needed to find an even more advanced tribe to recruit from. Our search took us further north. Cutting west, we entered into a bay. And just off the northern coast of this bay, we found a salt marsh. Here, we found a tribe of people that we were just barely able to defeat. They'd be the perfect recruits.
These can be the third. Press E.
I'm getting one. Hold up.
Now with much higher level tribe members, we spotted some ruins to the southeast of us. Scaling the cliffs, we eventually made it to the temple, but this was heavily guarded by exceptionally high level sand bandits. Working together with our new recruits of the tribe, we were just barely able to defeat them by simply ganking them with numbers. Deeper in the temple, we found the sand bandit elite. Even when outnumbered 6-1, he wouldn't go easy. Finally managing to bring him down, we now found ourselves with multiple sets of iron armor and weapons. This was an unbelievable upgrade. We had now leveled up, recruited much stronger tribe mates, and gotten our hands on some much higher quality gear. We were ready to face the Sobek crocodile again. We made our way back to the arena, readied ourselves, and once again made a sacrifice to summon him.
He's here!
We'd cut his tail off. This was our chance to do some real damage.
Chop him to bits! What the fuck?
We'd gotten him to half HP, but me and Donkey weren't looking so good. We backed off to heal, leaving the tribe members to hold down his aggro. With our health restored, we moved in to keep pressure on the croc.
I'm slashing. Yeah, I'm 200 HP.
Once again, I was reduced to near death, but some of our tribe mates had suffered even worse. They weren't going to be getting back up. With a few of our number dead, we continued our desperate struggle.
Oh my god, he's eating me!
Okay, done a lot of damage, guys.
He's like doing fire. Slice him up. Oh, all your guys are down. It's just us right now. He's almost dead. I think we got him. Oh, dude, let's fucking go.
Barely managing to bring him down, the fight was finally over. Of the 6 tribe members we had brought into this arena, 3 had paid the ultimate price. Getting a key from the crocodile, we were now able to head into the pyramid. Their sacrifice wouldn't be for naught. Inside the pyramid, we found multiple treasure chests, including a great deal of crystals and sunstone. But most importantly of all, an anti-gravity core. This is exactly what we had come for. Bringing this back to the boat and combining it with a few other resources we'd gotten from chests, we were able to craft an anti-gravity engine. I quickly placed it on our existing boat and immediately took her for a spin.
Let's fucking go.
It had taken us a decent chunk of time, and we'd certainly had some setbacks along the way, but it had all been worth it. We were now airborne. No longer would we be constricted to the waterways. We could now take our base anywhere we wanted. Now, we weren't nearly ready to confront that convoy we'd seen flying high up above, but we were certainly getting much closer. If we could continue upgrading our gear, our equipment, our tribe, before long, we would have our day with those bastards. But now, with the ability to fly, the world was our oyster. We can just go wherever we want. I immediately set a course for us to begin heading west. There was a wide expanse of desert that we were just unable to explore because, well, you know, there's no water there. But now able to fly, we would have no such constrictions. Out in the near endless desert, the first thing we came across was an iron mine. We first cleared out the camp, and then began mining the iron. For now, however, we would be unable to smelt this iron. Kind of like real life, because iron actually has a much higher melting point, you need a more advanced furnace. So for now, we just have to hold on to our iron ore. Further in the desert, we found a landed airship belonging to sand bandits. The last thing we needed was competition from guys like these, so we moved in to take them out.
They detected us yet. I'm going in. Oh my god!
The fight was far more difficult than we had thought.
I can't. I'm down, dude.
What do we do?
Oh, dude, I gotta move the boat further back.
Respawning, I found that the ballista they had on their ship had been laying into ours. With our airship taking significant damage, I had no choice but to hide it behind a dune. With our ship no longer receiving fire from the enemy, I was able to rejoin the fray.
I'm dead.
He's dead.
With the battle concluded, we were able to grab more equipment and supplies. A decent little upgrade. Every place we found and explored, we got just a little bit stronger. But more importantly, we had learned a pretty important lesson. A single stationary ballista had caused great damage to our ship, and having scouted out the sand bandit armada up above, we knew that each of those ships, even the smaller ones, had at least 4 of these ballistas. We were gonna have to find a way to deal with them if we were ever gonna take them down. We'd learned an important lesson here. We still had a long way to go before we could challenge those ships. Sure, that info might come in handy, but we found something even more important than that. Apparently you can slide down hills using the special attack of the shield. And apparently you can also faceplant and humiliate yourself too.
Oh.
Ow! Loading back up on our ship, from there we then began heading south. Here we came across what seemed to be another temple, half sunken into the sand. Heading inside we began to explore. Finding sand bandits occupying this site, we worked our way through them. Dealing with these sand bandits, we found that this temple had a large underground section. We continued exploring and we eventually came upon a great hall. After dealing with the sand bandits here, we continued looking around when we noticed some sand bandits that hadn't been killed by us. On top of that, there were these strange death caches containing sunstone and metal chunks. There'd clearly been a fight here between the sand bandits and someone else. But who? We pressed on further to find out.
I opened them all.
Donkey had fallen through a false floor. Joining him on a grate, looking down, we could see some very advanced machines. These were the ruin guards. This is who the sand bandits had been fighting against. Whatever they're guarding would be of great use to us, so we had to take them out.
Dude, our guardsmen are getting killed. We need to help them. I can see their health bars dropping, Donkey. I'm helping him. This guy, dude, he was actually 1 HP. Holy. Oh shit, there's something behind us, Donkey.
We then got stuck on this spinning triangle guy for a bit. Like he would just sit there tanking our attacks, but eventually we took care of him.
Oh my lord, bro. Check him for loot.
From here, we were free to loot a good number of chests. Now, these had some pretty decent resources, including some that we'd never even seen before, like talc. However, we weren't yet done with this dungeon. We continued going further down, and eventually, we came across a ruin guard that was much bigger than the others. He was a lot stronger, but he wasn't immune to our tried and tested method of ganking someone with 8 guys.
I parried him. What the hell?
With him defeated, we were able to find even more loot, but we weren't yet done. The ruins here stretched even further into the earth. We continued down, clearing out more enemies. We eventually came upon what seemed to be the final room. Hovering above was a giant flying ruin guard. We began fighting him, hoping that he would fly down to us, but no luck. And after our bows proved completely ineffective against him, there was only one option left.
Okay, Donkey, activate flight!
We use our mask's special ability to take to the skies. We could do this only for a very short amount of time, so we had to keep the pressure on him.
He's doing it again.
Snitch! He's down, he's down. Alright, join our boys on the ground.
Although the flying one was now dead, he'd summoned many others into this fight. We were far from done here.
Ow, bro. Oh my god!
There was a short period after I blocked that I could reflect the shot of the ruin guards. I used this newfound knowledge to our advantage.
I shot it back. Oh, I killed it with...
After a great struggle, we had finally managed to take all of them down. Luckiest of all, we hadn't lost anyone. With this, we were finally truly done. We were able to loot countless chests, providing us with a shit ton of resources that we needed. And after that, we found a way to teleport back to the surface and return to our airship. Once back on our ship, we continued to explore west. Passing through some pretty interesting terrain, we once again found a temple, this one carved into the side of a mountain. We landed the airship, disembarked, and of course once again found some more murderous sand bandits. Clearing a decent distance into the dungeon, we eventually came upon this very, very long ramp. And instantly upon seeing this, me and Donkey both had the same thought.
Totally is something there.
Who's that? Asshole! Donkey! Donkey!
Where did you go?
To the bottom of a pit, Donkey.
No! I didn't reach you.
Can we please get an instant replay on that?
No! I didn't reach you.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that he did in fact hit me. Lying on some cold, hard column somewhere, I slowly regened and then got back up on my feet. No thanks to Donkey. The funniest thing is that there was a giant pool of water just underneath me, so I had somehow managed to land on the one part where I would take a shit ton of damage. But now reunited, me and Donkey continued further into the temple. We once again found more ruin guard. Clearing them out, we were able to advance further into the temple, where we had just wandered into a section of the temple that was heavy with poison gas. We absolutely did not have the right gear for this, but we're nothing if not brave bastards. And so, finding a couple antidotes that we had looted out of a chest in our inventory, we popped these.
Drink it.
They would give us some poison resistance to the gas, but we still had to be quick about things. We were still taking damage in here. We had to keep a constant pace through this cloud.
It's evil. Destroy it. I'm trying to get out of the fucking gas stink, bro.
What the fuck are these things?
Bro, that's like a...
Yeah, but those big guys look strong if you ask me, but what do I know, huh? Whoa!
Okay, their HP isn't crazy. They die pretty easy. Yeah, they're not that scary.
Are we sure we can make this?
I don't fucking know.
Yes, boat! Come here! I figured it out!
What? Do I just run to you?
For some reason, Donkey had found a waterlogged passage that he really thought we should go through. Arriving to the other end of it, we found ourselves in probably the worst room in human history.
Okay.
What the fuck? Dude, they're tanking. They keep coming.
No matter how many we killed, more just kept flooding down on us. Donkey was killed. I had no choice but to turn around and run as fast as I fucking could from the centipede room. After that, we both realized we absolutely were not cut out for this temple. We turned around, went back to our ship, and never even fucking thought about looking back. Although we had been forced to leave this temple, all was not lost. Thanks to all the exploring and fighting we had been doing, I had recently reached awareness strength 36, meaning I could now craft a whole bunch of new recipes, some of which would prove very useful to bringing down those airships we'd seen. And so, it was time to lock the fuck in, gather some resources, and make some real progress. First things first, sulfur. And where better to grab that than the nearby sulfur pools?
I'm going in. Ah, nasty centipedes are here. Ew.
Finding the same poisonous gas in centipedes as in the temple, I wasn't exactly here to sightsee. I mined the sulfur, and then got right the fuck out of there. I hadn't gotten a crazy amount of sulfur, but I didn't exactly need all that much. After that, I finally took the time to make a couple blast furnaces for the iron. Now, since it would take quite a bit for this to smelt, I assigned one of our tribe mates as a dedicated forgeman to just sit there and make sure the metal got smelted, allowing me to continue exploring as the metal smelted down. And exploring is exactly what I'd need to do, because although we'd already found tin and iron mines, we didn't yet have a steady supply of copper or coal, two resources that we would need in abundance for my special little project. And so as the iron smelted, I simply took the ship around exploring. Far down to the south, I found a decent sized copper mine, so I took care of the tribe guarding it, and then mined it dry. Exploring further, far to the west, I at one point came across this like really horrific sand creature, and at this moment I was very glad that I could fly. Exploring further, I eventually found a coal mine, which once again was picked absolutely clean. Having discovered mines for the 4 basic ores, I spent a decent chunk of time literally just flying between them, mining one dry, flying to a different one, mining that one dry, and just repeating the process with every ore. because we would need an absolute shit ton of resources. With the furnaces smelting away with countless ore, there was one pretty strange resource we needed to get our hands on: meteorite ore. Found all the way at the east at where else but the meteorite fields. We made our way over here. Pretty soon we realized we were soaking up some radiation here, so we got to work as quickly as we could. Using our flying ability to quickly take to the ground, we spotted a crater and flew in to get some more. But apparently there were some baboons in this crater that really didn't want to give up their ore. I don't know what the fuck they were planning to do with it. In fact, they were more than willing to throw rocks at us to protect this ore. Ow, you fucking assholes. Dude, he shot me out. Donkey, he took me out the sky.
Go.
Bro, I was fucking flying away, he got me. Taking some metal from these greedy apes, we got back on our ship and managed to get out just before getting radiation sickness. So we would avoid having to throw up the lining of our stomach or whatever happens when you get radioactive poisoning. I mean, I don't know exactly what happens, but it's definitely not anything good. But our short little trip down to Chernobyl had been worth it. We now had all the resources we needed to craft a Falcon-class airship. Much bigger and with far more HP than our current raft. If we pimp this thing out, we might just stand a chance against the Sand Bandit Armada. However, having spent all of our resources just to craft the damn thing, we didn't have anything left to actually equip it. And so we spent some more time farming, just flying between all the mines and giving tasks on our tribe mates on how exactly to refine those materials. However, the tribe mates that we had now just wouldn't be good enough for combat with the Armada. So in an eastern bay, we found some pretty fucking strong guys that we recruited into the tribe. In total, I recruited about 10 of these guys. These guys would form the crew on our Falcon-class airship. However, we also needed an upgrade in our equipment. And so, pretty close to here, we found some more sand bandits guarding a pyramid. But these guys had some pretty advanced weaponry and armor. We could sure use that. With our gear once again upgraded, we got back on the ship. And actually, just a little bit after this, we had a man fall overboard off our ship and we just didn't notice at all until I saw on the map that he was in the middle of a waterway. And upon returning to him, we found him passed out in the river. Now, what I think had happened with this guy is that I'd recently put in a bunch of alcohol I'd gotten from chests and enemies into the communal eating area. And I guess, most of the guys were able to control their drinking, except for this guy who I think drunk himself into a stupor and then just fell off the ship. And because of that, everybody lost their alcohol privileges. Nothing like a little bit of collective punishment to make the entire tribe mad at one guy. I feel like fishing out a drunken crew member that had fallen into the water was the true hallmark of a real navy. And so now, with all the tribe members, materials, and equipment we needed, it was time to begin construction on our warship. But for some reason, when I start building, my IQ drops by 30 points.
So how would we armor up the front?
Okay. Well, the stern, right? That is the voice of someone who was fairly confident that the stern of the ship is the front, when in reality, I could not have been more wrong. But work was soon underway. On these front-facing cannons here, I gave as much protection as I could around the operator without limiting their vision. The angle in which you could actually shoot these would be severely limited, but don't worry, that was all part of the plan. As for the midship, we had 3 ballistas on each side, all operated by a dedicated gunner. The underside, meanwhile, had a bonfire to provide us a respawn if things really started going in the shitter. And at the back, very much so inspired by the bridges on World War II ships, we placed the captain's wheel. Donkey made sure this area was fully enclosed. The absolute last thing we needed was the captain getting sniped while he's trying to drive the ship. And finally, with a couple finishing touches, our warship was ready. But before we could fulfill our dream of confronting those bastards in the sky, there was still one more thing we needed to do. The crew of the ship was untested, but even worse than that, they were unleveled. Before we could face our true goal, we'd have to go through a challenge together. And so, we all boarded the warship. We then flew northwest, eventually reaching another pyramid. Disembarking, we once again found another altar. We could summon a powerful beast, and if victorious over it, me, Donkey, and the rest of the crew would get a shit ton of experience. And so, we prepared ourselves for a fight.
getting him. I'm getting up. Skilled hunter from the Savage Horn tribe. Oh shit.
Why are you standing up? What the fuck?
I think everyone is down except us, Donkey. Get your HP up. I'm going for him, Donkey.
With the beast defeated, we gained plenty of experience, got the key to the pyramid, and headed inside. In there, I did a little bit of sliding down the ramp like I was a fucking skateboarder. And we acquired all the loot inside. With that done, we got back on the ship, mounted the head of the beast that we had just defeated for good luck, and prepared for our final task. Although our ship would be outnumbered 3-1, this is the moment we had spent all that time preparing for. Our crew consisted of 14 members, 6 gunners to man the ballistas, plus me and Donkey, each with a personal retinue of 3 crew. The plan was as follows. We would approach the convoy from one of their flanks. From here, we would only have to deal with one ship at a time. Additionally, we had heavily armored the front of our ship, meaning we could soak up some serious damage. More importantly, however, this is where we had placed our cannons. These had far better range than any of the guns on the enemy ship. As Donkey manned these front guns, I would control the ship at the rear, and if necessary, I would step off the wheel to effect any repairs. And so, from afar, we would pick at the enemies, disabling most of their heavy ballistas. Once the enemy had lost most of their artillery, we would close in on a broadside, where the gunners manning our ballistas would now be able to inflict serious damage to them. Once the enemy crew was significantly rattled, we'd close in even further, lower our gangways, and then me and Donkey would take our retinues onto their ship in a boarding action. This, plus our gunners continuing to suppress them, we should be able to completely eliminate the enemy crew. From there, we would move on to the enemy's main ship. This would prove the greatest challenge to us yet, but if we were careful with our positioning, the other ship on the fleet would be unable to assist them. And because the main ship had such a numerous crew, we would have to broadside them for far longer if our boarding action against them was going to have any success. Once that ship was taken out, only one would be left. However, we were very likely to already be significantly weakened by then, so the final ship would be a struggle. But struggle or not, we were going to throw everything we had into it. So, sailing down south, I eventually spotted them. Because we'd thrown a couple sails on the ship, we had a slight speed advantage on them, and we began closing in. Once just barely within range, Donkey opened fire with the cannons. Our front armor was proving highly effective. Donkey hadn't even been hit yet. Alright, I'm coming down, I'll shoot the gun. Having destroyed everything we could from here, we moved in closer.
Yeah, some moving.
The armor on the front was beginning to break. Donkey had even been knocked down. I got him up.
Oh, we're losing our cover, yo.
And with most of the first ship's artillery now down, I decided it was now time to engage them in a broadside. We let loose shot after shot.
Okay, the broadsides are working well.
With the crew thoroughly suppressed, we formed up and committed to a boarding action.
Wow.
Oh no, dude. We had pushed in far too early. The cannons of the flagship rained down upon us. We were forced to retreat under heavy fire. Once back on our ship, I pulled us away. Although the first ship had been effectively suppressed, the left side of the flagship had still been able to support it. For this, we paid a heavy price. Our middle left gunner had been killed, and so as we pulled out of the effective range of their guns, Donkey continued to man the cannons, this time taking care of the left side of the flagship. As this was going on, I repaired the very significant damage we had taken to the ship. It wouldn't be quite as strong as new, but it was certainly much better than having a hole in our ship. Right about the time I was done with this, Donkey had neutralized the left side of the flagship, and so we were able to close in once again. But this time, we would give them a much more thorough broadside. They were significantly weakened. Now was our chance.
Alright, I'm coming in.
A highly successful boarding action, although unavoidably in the process, Donkey had lost one of his companions. With our ship providing covering support to us, we were now able to break into the loot room.
Give me the loot. Okay, I'm in.
Grabbing everything here, this was a very significant haul, but we weren't done till all these bastards were out of the air. We reboarded and began making progress on the flagship. Cannonball after cannonball flew at their ballistas. And when they returned fire, Donkey was very glad that I had repaired the armor. Continuing to shell their defenses, this had become less like a naval battle and more like a fucking siege. Although we'd lost one of our ballistas and a gunner in the process, the flagship was now thoroughly suppressed. With them all cowering from our artillery, it was now or never. We needed to push in and take the initiative.
Burn them out! Burn, bitch! Burn! I'm going in.
Returning back to our ship as Donkey finished the last of those on their flagship, I saw that we were under heavy fire. They had broken the supports holding up our front section of armor. With this missing, before we were even able to pull back, they had destroyed 2 guns, killing those manning them in the process. Additionally, in the flagship boarding action, I'd lost one of my guys, and so we prepared for our greatest struggle yet. We would have to confront the last ship with half our guns and almost no protection.
They're all like bunched up. Oh my god, bro. Dude, I just got hit by like 8 arrows at the same time and I'm...
Once their artillery was destroyed, they stood no chance against us. The archers were raining arrows down upon us, but every time we shot, fewer and fewer arrows would come our way. With the enemy ship severely weakened, it was time to land the finishing blow. We used our mask ability to quickly close in the distance. Now on the ship, they stood no chance against us.
I got fucked.
With the last one defeated, we had finally won. Our ship and our crew had suffered greatly, and more than half of the crew lay dead. But in the end, we were victorious. Now, it was simply a matter of looting every single chest they had. Our pockets overstuffed with loot, we got back on our ship and limped off into the sunset. And reflecting back, there was no doubt about it, we'd gone on one hell of a journey. We had spawned on a strange island, fought through countless enemies and horrific beasts, gathered rare and exotic resources, discovered strange ancient temples, and finally, by the scuttling of the Sand Bandit air fleet, we had become the king of the skies. And so, if you want to experience the Shifting Sands DLC for yourself, I absolutely encourage you to click the link in the description so you can add the game to your wish list. And remember, for 1 month after April 10th, the Shifting Sands DLC is free. With over 500 hours of new content, even to someone completely new to Soulmask, there's no better time to jump in. And once again, thank you to Soulmask for sponsoring this video. And of course, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me and Donkey float around on our airships, even if I am still kind of holding a grudge about Donkey knocking me down that airship when we were sliding on our shields, and then claiming he had nothing to do with it.